Okay, so in the second half of the second session, we're going to be looking at some effects and presets, just to break it up from keyframing. Don't want to do keyframing too much. We're going to have a look at some nice effects and presets. So in the first session we already used fractal noise and tint, and let's minimise all these. By the way, in the effects and presets window, much like layers in Photoshop and in After Effects, if you see this effects bit is turned off, then if you see this turned on, it's like the eye icon in the layers. All these effects are turned off, so they may as well not be there on this layer. So we've used fractal noise and tint so far. In this time using fractal noise, I went with dynamic twist, and I went with linear, and then just modified those options and animated the evolution, and then gave it a tint, so it looks kind of kind of lava-y but cloudy lava-y kind of thing. So that's what I came up with first. That was you can see I've got 10 backgrounds. That was my background one. The next one I went with, I thought I would, sorry, one sec, just I was on the wrong layer last time. There you go. Right, yeah, so the next one I went with, I thought, okay, background 2. So again, these bottom ones, I was just playing around and get rid of them. So I've got the fractal noise, I've got the tint, and then I experimented with Cece Collider. Now, I found all these effects and presets, did the fractal noise and the tint, and I found the rest of them in Stylize. I was just going through and trying out different ones. So we've got this one, Collider, we've got a vignetted one here. I'm going to show you each of them as we go through. Got a Mosaic here, sort of just pixelates it. I've got a Posterize effect on this one, sort of crushes the colours so you can see the difference between that and that. It just reduces the amount of colours in there and crushes them. And then I've got a colour emboss on here. You can see it's sort of got a little bit of depth to it in comparison to this. So there's that. And then next I went with something called scatter and animated that. Then I went with a burn film, so it's like a film burn transition-y thing. Next I went with a glow, which gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And then I used something called Hex Tile on this one. So we're going to do that today. So to start off, I'm going to make new composition, fractal backgrounds I'll call it, and I want it to be about, this one's 50 seconds, so I want it to be about 50 seconds, let's go for that. Okay, so layer, new, solid, BG1, so that's my background 1. Right, so what we want is fractal noise, and I went for dynamic twist, and it was linear. I went for alter the contrast. You've used this before, so you don't have to do exactly the same as mine, just go for your preference. Then next I wanted tint, so click and drag that onto there. So map the black, I want that to be a sort of deep red, very deep red, and map the white to a orange, and that red is too deep, so we'll come up a bit, something like that. And this orange isn't exactly what I want, something like that is fine. Yeah, something like that, a yellowy. Okay, cool, I'm happy with that. So the first thing I want to do, let's make this layer 4 seconds long. So you can see here, if you wanted to, you can type in 4 seconds and 0 frames and it'll jump to 4 seconds, or you can just click and drag and see on the left when it gets to there. So 4 seconds, there you go. Right, now I want to shorten this layer, so I'll click and drag the end of it, and I want to shorten this layer all the way down to here. If you want to get it exact, get your time slider at 4 seconds, hit Alt or Option and the square bracket key, the end square bracket key, and then we'll just cut it to there. Okay, so we've got that. Now I want to animate the evolution, so keyframe at the beginning, come to like 4 seconds in, at the end of it, and let's put number of revolutions up to 2. So between these two keyframes, you can see if we play it, it animates like so. Okay, so that's our background 1. That's the first one we want to just mess around with, and we've got something quite nice. So next, I'm going to go to Control or Command D, and that will give us another BG1. But I want to rename this to BG2 by right-clicking. Okay, like that. So they've got the exact same effects on them. These have exact same effects, fractal noise and tint, but I want to start looking at the stylize effects, which we looked at a little bit earlier. So one I want to look at is Cece Collider. So that's, where's that? Cece Collider. So click and drag that onto BG2. Okay, and we've got an extra effect down here. Let's have a look. It's like a cool kaleidoscope thing, so you can alter the size, you can alter the mirroring effect. I like the flower one's pretty good anyway. Let's have a look at this. I like that flower one. It's a softer sort of transition between them, and you can alter the rotation of it. You can keyframe that if you want to, but you know, it just works nice on its own like that. So that's another one, and we're going to duplicate BG2 and move on to a third one. Just looking at all the different effects. Okay, so Control D or Command D, and BG2 has got fractal noise, tint, and Cece Collider, and so has BG3 because we just duplicated it. So we'll delete the Cece Collider, and we'll have a look at Cece Vignette. It's just a nice, simple way of doing a vignette. So click and drag onto BG3, and you can change the amount, you can change the angle of view, you know, how close in it comes, something like that. And you know, we've already got, you know, a nicer look to it. So we're going to move on to the next one. Control D, and let's rename this one. Yeah, BG4. Let's get rid of the vignette, and the next one I'm going to look at is Mosaic. Click and drag onto BG4, and you can see it just like pixelates it. So let's have a look at the settings. Let's do 40 by 40, and then you can see it's got that animation in the background on the fractal noise, and it's showing up through that sort of pixelation. So again, what do sharp colours do? It makes the edges sort of more harsher. Okay, cool. Just have a play around. Control D. You can keyframe these as well. So let's have a look. If I wanted to start at the beginning, have 40 at the beginning, and by the time I get to the end, I wanted to just have 5. You can see as it goes over time, it gets less and less res. You know, that's an interesting thing. So let's go on to the next one. Let's Control D, duplicate that. So we've got BG5. Delete the Mosaic because we don't want that. And the next one we want to look at is Posterize. So let's click and drag that on. And when it says all these different levels, basically level 2, if we take it to level 2, it's constricting it to 2 colours, red and yellow. So anything fairly close to red, it just changes to red. Anything fairly close to yellow, it changes to yellow. So if we put this to 3, there'll be 3 colours. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it just basically restricts the amount of colour, so you can have something like that. So we've gone from, if we get rid of those, if we turn off those 3, this to this. You know, I think that looks better. There's more detail, but depending on what you're going for, something like this could work, you know. So let's turn them back on, and let's go for another one. So we've used Posterize. You can also keyframe that. Control D. So on background 6 now. Let's delete the Posterize off background 6. It's still on background 5. The next one we're going to look at is Color Emboss. So click and drag that one on, and it just, if you turn up the contrast, and let's have a look at altering the direction and the relief. Have a play around. There you go. You can see when I turn it on and off, it gives it some sort of depth. Now the relief's a bit too big, so looking at that and that, it looks like a kind of mountain range. So obviously when it's animated it will be a moving mountain range, but it looks kind of like a satellite picture in a sense. So that's a cool one. You can keyframe that, have a play around with that. Let's go Control D. So this is background 7. Let's get rid of the colour emboss on that. The next one we're going to look at is scatter. Click and drag it on. And scatter amount, it just sort of adds grain, but again you can keyframe that. And I want to make sure that I click randomize every frame, because if I don't, it'll just the scatter will just stay on top of it like a frosted window. Actually, to be fair, that does look cool as a frosted window, but if you wanted it to randomize the grain every single frame, have a look at what it would look like now. You can see it's like TV static then. But yeah, so there's that one. Let's Control D. So we're on background 8, get rid of the scatter on the 8th one, and CC film burn. Sorry, CC burn film. Just click that, drag it on, and here we go. So if we scroll the burn up and down, because there's a layer below it, it just burns through to the layer below it. So let's turn all of the below layers, the eye icon off, so you can see now it just transitions out of it. So obviously this would need keyframing. So we'll come to the beginning, burn, 0, keyframe, come to the end. I'm moving forward frame by frame with the page up and page down key, by the way, and then set that to 100. So then over the period of time it burns out. Okay, Control D, and we're going to get rid of that effect, so we're on background 9. So we've played with loads of stuff. Next one I'm going to look at is glow. So where's glow? Here it is. So drag that onto background 9, and you've got the glow threshold. So let's turn it down. Sorry, turn it up to 100. 100. So I may want to keyframe this. So let's hit the stopwatch at the beginning when it's on 100 threshold, and then let's come to the very end. Come back, and let's put that to 0, so it's completely glowed out. So then in between the two you can see the glow gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until it can't take it anymore, and then it's completely blown out. Okay, and the last one we're going to look at, Control D, get rid of glow, is going to be Hex Tile. I like this one, Cece Hex Tile, sorry. I like this, it's quite cool, it's like a honeycomb thing. So let's turn the radius up, sorry. And you know it's looking pretty cool. Tile, you can have a look at these different render views, fold seamlessly, but I like this one. Can rotate it, got this smearing option, just have a play around. I really like this effect, but yeah, it kind of gives it like a sort of wasp's view or fly's view or like a honeycomby effect. But those, I mean, we've only played around with 10 of them, and there's loads in there, and you can, you know, everything. Remember, everything has got a stopwatch next to it. You can keyframe, so you can do so much. All we did is we started off with a base of, let's come to BG1, fractal noise and tint. Then in BG2 we added Cece Collider. In BG3 we had a Cece Vignette. I know you can have something where you have kaleidoscope on there. You have the vignette as well. There's no limit to how many things you can put on there. It'll, you know, make the render longer and it'll slow your computer down. But, you know, such a simple thing, we've got, you know, pretty cool looks. So, yeah, cheers for tuning in, and have a play around with them and keyframe them, and yeah, cool. See you later.